You're right. Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me, as always, is Mr. Bobby Bluntz. Bobby, man, what a weekend it was in Brazil. Charles Oliveira gave us, y'all must have forgot. I mean, we both sat here last week and said, we were worried coming off the bad knockout, coming off the bad loss to Ilya Tapor. Not that he lost bad, he's just a bad. I mean, he was knocked out completely cold. We were both worried. Did say that we actually, with Gamrot, would be a little bit different with Fiziev. And he choked Gamrot out in the second round. And I mean, at first, it wasn't even close. I mean, Charles didn't change his stance, didn't change his style. Kept pressing forward and gave us the y'all must have forgot Bronxs reigns.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, that's kind of why I ended up like sticking with him, even though I really had the hesitation of, oh, you know, this might be too soon. We've just seen so many different stories like this, like when, you know, Volkanovski got KO'd with the head kick, and then he had the quick turnaround to Ilya and stuff. But Charles just simply didn't want to hear any of that. I mean, he was front and center in the cage, walking Gamrot down the whole time. I mean, in that first round, he was getting hit, and it was giving me a little bit of hesitation, like, uh-oh. Like, but at the same time, Charles in no way, like, that looked like the same Charles Oliveira that we have seen time and time again. So he didn't really seem like he was thinking too much about the last loss or anything. And he was really just, you know, he had all the people behind him and stuff. So I'm sure it was a big get up, like motivating factor and stuff. And yeah, I mean, he undoubtedly ended up making short work of him. You know, in the first round, Gamrot made the decision to, you know, go for the takedown and get him down. And I was kind of wondering how long he was just going to kind of hang around in the guard and stuff. But, you know, as you know, Charles, he had no problem throwing stuff up off his back and stuff. And, you know, I kind of thought that Gamrot might force the striking a little bit more. But I think when he saw that Charles was going to kind of lead with the pressure, that's why he kind of went for the level changes and stuff. But yeah, I mean, vintage Bronxs moment. We rarely kind of get these feel good moments in MMA, but that was absolutely one of them. And couldn't think of a better way to end the night for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's he shined. You know what I mean? The crowd, like you said, the crowd was loud and for him. He was the hometown hero. And he adds to his record books, right? Like, I mean, he's already had, you know, just adds one more to the record book for most submissions. I think he's one win behind Jim Miller, I believe, for wins. I thought I bookmarked this tweet that said something about it, but maybe not. No. Okay. Guess not. But nonetheless, you know, he wins, and I think he is like one win behind Jim Miller, and you know, he looked great. He looked like vintage Charles Oliveira. Now he does call out Max Holloway and Witt's favorite belt, the BMF belt, is a rematch. Seems like that's the fight to make, right?
Yeah, I mean, immediately, you know, in the text chain, all I saw was did I just hear him call for the BMF title? And I completely thought he was trolling, but like through all the translation and stuff, yeah, I guess he essentially did. I do think that's the fight. I tweeted if the only way for us to get it is to put that belt on the line because some people think it has like decent lineage now that Max has defended it once, so I could get why it's enticing. I could really care less about the belt. I do think that would be a good fight for both guys, especially where they are in their career. They've already fought once, and it's been one that Oliveira has been trying to get back for a long time. And I think Max will also take that personally and want to show out that the first one wasn't a fluke. So I know when people's like first reaction was like, and I think this is going to be like the thing that gets old pretty quickly whenever there's a good matchup. But well, you got to put this on the White House now, right?
Right, right.
Get this on the White House.
We're gonna have 85 fights on the White House card. You know what I mean? Like every good fight that's like they don't. It's like it's just like UFC 300. I think it's worse than that at this point in time already. Where it's just like you got to put this on UFC.
Absolutely, yeah.
UFC, you know what I mean? But what about the rest of the year? They kind of talked about it on Ariel Helwani's show, and I like the idea, like going to Hawaii and put it on for Max's people, and why not use that gate? And I know that there's expenses and whatnot, but why not use that gate and donate it back to the families and the people of Hawaii who lost their houses in the fires, a couple of years ago. I know Max has already and Dana's done a lot, but why not donate more money by hosting a fights? Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. Let Max, a legend of Hawaii and in this sport, fight in his home. I think that's kind of he had tweeted something similar to that, and I actually like the. I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it needs to be either in Brazil or Hawaii. I mean, why would you not a fight like that? Like, why would you not put it in an environment where you're going to get that type of reception and stuff? I mean, just when like Oliveira won, they normally like hop over the cage and stuff,
Yeah.
and they normally immediately get them back in the cage ASAP. Security could do fuck all about that on Saturday. I mean, there were literally people in the crowd like, "You do not touch this man. I will die for him." And, just like kind of watching the reception he was getting, like when he was at the Fighter Hotel and stuff like that. It just makes so much more sense to do it there or do it somewhere like Hawaii, opposed to doing it in like Qatar or just some random kind of sight fee location,
Des Moines, Iowa, or some shit like that.
Yeah, and I do think kind of the biggest gripe for Hawaii, Dana's gonna blame it on the arena and everything. I think it mainly just comes down to the site fee issue. So my feeling on that would be use Turkey for this. Like use the Riyadh season sponsor to pretty much pay, the UFC's handsome site fee, get an event over in Hawaii. I know Rob would love that. What up, Rob?
Yeah.
And the only problem is it almost feels like too perfect. Like when it's something like such a layup like that, it almost never happens. But I absolutely would not be opposed to the idea.
Yeah, so Rob chimes in here, and he says UFC will never come to Hawaii because their assholes been waiting 32 years. I know why. Because UFC only goes where they're paid to. They don't do charity events, just T-shirts, Bodkins. Yeah, I know they don't. I know they don't either, Rob. But I'm just,
That's the bar at the end is so hard though. They don't do charity events, just T-shirts like that.
Yeah, I know they don't, Rob. I agree with what every word you're saying. I'm just trying to live in a positive world, Rob. I'm just trying to be positive. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to live a positive life here. And I'm just a guy can dream, Rob. A guy can dream. I'm okay.
And,
I'm
and
just saying.
like, I do think the easiest way around that would just be kind of use Turkey for it. I mean, they used him as a sponsor to
Of
get
the
the
spear.
spear off
Yeah.
the ground and stuff. So
Yeah.
why not use it for some good instead of like some horse shit ego like
Yeah.
massaging or something?
Yeah. Rob, real quick too. He said belts don't make great fights, great fighters do. I mean, amen to that. I mean, we saw one hell of a fight. Not this week's contender series was good, but last week's contender series, those boys are just trying to earn a 12-12 contract, baby, and they laid it all out on the line. So, shout out to So agreed. But yeah, I mean, he does want Max. Seems like that's, to me, like you said, Bobby, the fight to make. And why not? And why not make it sometime next year as well? I'd like to do. I mean, early. We haven't seen Max said he's recovering from injury, so why you could do that sometime in the first quarter, later first quarter of the year, and maybe even. I think if Max wins, he'd probably try to push for a title fight after that.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of already has in his cards if he wants to do it. I know what Rob's answer to this question would be, but for you, that win on Saturday for Charles, does that age Ilya's performance against Charles any better? Because I know there were a lot of people that just kind of went into the Charles is old. Of course, he's going to knock him out scenario. Did seeing Charles dispose of one of the top guys, someone which I might add a lot of people don't want to fight, did it make you rate that performance any higher, or were you not really discounting it to begin with?
I wasn't discounting it to begin with because I thought Charles was a killer, still a killer to begin. Like who had really put Charles down like that in recent memory? You know what I mean? Like Islam tapped him. Arman barely beat. Like the fight between him and Arman was real close. I think, you know what I mean? Like so close that if you go back and rewatch it, you could make a side for either one.
You can always wonder if Arman's shorts didn't pop off if Charles didn't get the choke there.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things. So I didn't discount Ilya and just be like, there are a lot of people, you're right, online contractors that, he's only beaten, especially talking to Ilya, he's only beaten has-beens or guys that, that are this and this. He's not beating prime fighters. I would disagree. I still think that Charles is, why he's at, I think he's got more fights in his rearview mirror than he does in the front. But that's it. You know what I mean? I didn't take it. I kind of disagree with that notion as far as like, it didn't do anything. That performance is what that was. And I was more impressed with what Charles did Saturday because of what happened to him. And who he was fighting. You have respect for Gamrot, I mean, and everything else, but Charles did what Charles does.
Yeah, and I mean, even though I thought he would be able to kind of put it in the back of his mind and not let it affect him, it was really cool to kind of see it unfold in that.
Do you question the game plan of Gamrot? I didn't like the game. Like, I know his style is to wrestle and takedowns, but I feel like if somebody's coming off a knockout like that, I feel like he should have stood a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I might critique it a little bit more if it wasn't on short notice.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he kind of took it on short notice there, and he did see Arman have success in the grappling against Charles, so maybe he thought he would just take it off that. But yeah, I was a little surprised when he, shot that first shot in the first round. I thought he would do a little bit more of the stand-up because he was hitting Charles, but at the same time, Charles was just pressuring him, and I think Gamrot was just trying to avoid having his back be put up against the fence, because eventually that's how he got him down the second where he did not get back up. So, and you also got to think it's a lot for him to kind of bizarre. Like Gamrot ran out there, and I
Yeah.
don't know if he like almost tripped over a camera or like the angle of it. So I mean that part was a little bizarre, but you do have to kind of put it in the back of your head because you have an arena full of people literally chanting that they hope you die. So I mean that's going to be a little bit of a mind fuck in itself. But I don't know. I mean, maybe after the first as well, he felt confident in going back down to the ground just because Oliveira really didn't do anything crazy with him in the first there. But I don't know. I think especially like with the short notice aspect to it, Gamrot pretty much gave as good a fight would have, and I think he just did the grappling because on short notice, that's what he was most comfortable with there.
Yeah. The Davidson Figueiredo had a nice win, a split decision win. I didn't. That fight was kind of not that. I didn't feel like that fight was all that great. How about Joel Alvarez beating Vincent Luque? Some wacky decisions there in the rep by the refereeing.
Shout out to Alvarez for flushing his 50K bonus down the toilet. And I don't want to really make this assumption, but what I took away from that fight is he didn't want to hurt Luque any more than he had to. And it was like kind of a little lackluster. I know some people are saying it's probably more because of him coming up in weight and stuff. But what I saw in that fight was more of a mercy killing than anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like that matchup to begin with, and but you can only fight who's put in front of you. The Figueiredo decision was I don't know. I sensed a little bit of home cooking there. Like I could see why you would come up with those scorecards, but there was definitely stuff far more egregious on the prelims and stuff. But I think at one point up until the Fighting Nerd lost, I think Brazil was like 6-0 on the night. So I mean, they more or less had a pretty good night for the hometown crowd.
Lucas, they had back-to-back losses. Lucas Almeida lost by TKO, and Ramos lost to O'Feely by sub. Then they lost. Actually, I take that back. They lost like 4 in a row. Luque lost, and Denines lost as well to Pinto. Or Pentino or whatever however you say his name, but not a great night for the Brazilians up until the main event. I mean, Figgy won, but they were on a losing streak up until Figgy and Charles. So
yeah, I mean, credit to Figgy for like still being able to get it done. I mean, he knew pretty much his best chance was to wrestle and stuff, and I remember seeing the odds and just thinking, oh, maybe it's that inflated because of Figgy's knee or something. But he definitely, I don't want to say like he's really lost a step, but I don't see kind of the same fierce competitor that we saw like during that flyway run and stuff. I think you can still make some very fun fights for him in the division, but I don't really have any title aspirations for Figgy at this point.
Yeah, I'm a kind of agreement there. Like I can't disagree. Like I think losing to Corey, I feel like he lost to Peter Yan too. Like he lost like 2 fights back to back. I thought, right? I'm gonna have to pull it up now because I can't remember. I feel like, yeah, he lost to Jan and Sandhagen. Started out well in the bantamweight, beating Corey Garbrandt and Cheeto, and then lost to Peter Yan, lost to Corey. So I think kind of in this mid, like he's not a top 5 bantamweight. He's probably somewhere in the 7 to 10, and I think that's probably where he'll stay.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he can still give guys problems with that. With the original matchmaking by the UFC, I wonder if they were kind of wondering, hey, let's try to make something off Figgy's name with this local crowd, but that definitely went sideways.
Yeah, Rob says barely 5 months after blowing your knee out was a bad choice by Figgy. Agreed. I don't think he should have been fighting. I didn't expect when his name was on the card, Rob. I couldn't believe it because I didn't expect to see him the rest of the year after the Sandhagen fight where he blew his knee out. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the part that more impressive with the performance, even though it was somewhat lackluster, is that he was still able to get that kind of victory just being 5 months removed from a gruesome injury like that. So good to see he's still got it in some aspect.
Yeah, Bobby, before we look into this weekend, I got to ask you, a bunch of fights got announced this past week. Mainly a lot in the welter. We're going to have ourselves a little welterweight, Grand Prix. So, we got the title fight here in just a few weeks. Next month, JDM versus Islam. It was also announced now Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. It is Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad. I always thought it should have been Brady and Gary, because it seemed like they were chirping at each other, and that's the fight they wanted. In fact, both had kind of confirmed they were supposed to fight twice, and they went in a different direction. The UFC went in a different direction. Your thoughts on this welterweight Grand Prix that we're about to enter?
I mean, I definitely like the fights. MSG is getting insanely stacked. I mean, that main card is looks very, very tasty, absolutely. And you really got to tip your hat to Sean Brady, someone that can kind of acknowledge how it works in the UFC and not really sitting on a spot. I mean, he beat Leon in London in his own backyard. Just dominated him the entire
I didn't even mention that fight, right? Leon Edwards versus Prates as well.
And so you got Prates on that card as well, who's kind of in a little bit of a resurgence after. So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely getting 170 moving now that JDM going to fight Islam on the next pay-per-view, obviously, after next week's pay-per-view. The Ian Gary Bilal one surprised me in the aspect of I would have assumed that would have been the main event. I mean, I know they have Armin versus Dan Hooker, but
that's in Qatar, right? That's in Qatar, right?
Yeah, both of them are in Qatar. So, I mean, granted, thank you, UFC Site Fee, for giving us real matchups. Kind of what makes this card in Canada this weekend so impressive, too, is, you kind of get a little bit of everything there. But I think I think the Gary and Bilal would have been served so much better with it being a 5-round fight.
Agreed.
Especially with both of their styles. And, Bilal said that Ian would only accept it if it was 3. I don't really think Bilal would be saying that if that wasn't the option, because, I mean, let's just be honest. We've seen, especially on these site fee cards, we see double 5-round main and co-main all the time. So maybe that was kind of Gary's wiggle room, because I think his best chance to win a decision would be in 3 rounds over 5. So I think we're just getting that in like a couple weeks, right? That's going to be before the MSG.
we can take a look. I'm not too sure.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure it is.
I was. You mentioned Sean Brady. Him taking on Morales is wild. Because like you said, he is the number one ranked contender. You know, the only reason he's not fighting for the title is because Islam is coming, stepping up, coming up a weight class. And had that not been happening, no, it's the week after. So you got MSG November 15th, Qatar November 22nd.
I mean, either way, that's still pretty good placement, on the UFC's part because they'll have the talking point from, the previous week of who wins
Yeah.
that and, who could be in line next for this. But why I give Brady the credit is him kind of acknowledging and saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, ironically, that's exactly what Hunter Campbell told him. He pretty much said, Sean, the rankings are complete bullshit. They mean nothing. The UFC is going to match up who they want to match up.
Who's available for the title? Yeah.
And because of that, Brady is taking on a very dangerous, undefeated prospect who I would not put in front of many people at the top of that division. So it's absolutely not a risk averse matchup. I mean, very dangerous fight for Brady. And that's just kind of why I tip my hat to him. I mean, he's taken a lot more risk, in my opinion, than let's say Ian Gary would be taking. Because like if Ian Gary loses to Bilal, Bilal is still kind of the former champion,
Yeah.
and Gary can save a lot of face with that. To where if Brady loses to Morales, he's undoubtedly going to be like more towards the back of the line in the top of that, elite top five. So but at the same time, the UFC does kind of reward that stuff as well. I mean, not always because we don't always see it. It's not always consistent, but I do definitely think Brady's making the right choice, and especially for getting the Madison Square Garden placement. I mean, that's about as close to a hometown fight Brady can get next to it being at the Wells Fargo Center. So, I think it always seems to work out for the UFC, but I think for the fans and the fighters involved in this fight, it's probably the best opportunity for them to all put some, new stuff on tape to get their name in the conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be like just like we talked with the middleweights not too long ago, right? Like it was like, this weekend it was going to be supposed to be DeRitter and Fluffy, and Imanov when he fought Kaya. It was like, who can put on the best performance, right? We kind of said that. And if, out of the four of them could be who's next. And that's kind of what we're going to see here with this welterweight Grand Prix. Is like, okay, we know somebody's between Jack and Islam. Somebody's going to come out with the title. So who's going to be next? Because you're not going to give Jack immediate rematch, not having, this is his first title defense. And
The
then,
crazy thing I would say with that caveat, though, is we still don't know what type of fight we would be getting with that.
yeah,
And though I find it very unlikely, how insane would it be if that one is such a gem that we do get like some automatic rematch? I know it's probably very, very low,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it would be kind of ironic that, they set all this thing up just to run back JDM and Islam a second time.
yeah. And then, Brady said it best though. He's like, I'm gonna have to fight all these guys eventually. It does it really matter? Does it really matter if I fight them when I have the belt or now or eventually? We're all around the same numbers. We're all around the same age. You know what I mean? There's not like anybody's like other than Leon, I guess it's kind of been around for a while. He's like, I'm gonna have to fight every one of them, and he's
Yeah.
not lying. So like, like that's the
It's
guy.
also a straight championship mentality.
Yeah, yeah. Bring on everybody. Yeah, and fight everybody. So I'm right there with you. The guy that's still out there that I think who knows what you know? You don't know anything what you read on the internet who it's true or not. But Shavkat is allegedly still hurt or re-aggravated his knee that he had surgery on. So who knows if what's going on with him? And
I do think because of all this activity that we're getting at the top at
he's been
170.
forgotten. He's been forgotten.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of always maintained and held out hope that if he was healthy and ready, the UFC would give him the title shot. I do think now with all this activity,
he might need 1 to 2 more.
Well, I think at minimum he's going to need one more.
If I'm him and I'm his manager, I probably want a tune-up fight before I go into a title fight, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, in that division, it's really hard to say you'll find a tune-up fight because they wouldn't. They're not going to match them like that,
Oh, I don't mean like a tune-up. Yeah, it's going to be somebody who's a legit top 5 contender. You know what I mean? Somebody that's,
like let's say hypothetically.
Let's say he comes back. Do you just do him and Bilal like the fight that got canceled twice?
I mean that. I think if Bilal wins against Gary, the UFC would still want one more. That is the one that always got away. I mean, for both you and me. So I would have no issues with that. I was kind of thinking on the winner of Prates and Leon, you can give the winner of that fight to Shavkat as well. That's why, I mean, most likely if Prates gets past Leon, I have a hard time believing they're just going to be like, great win. Now here's the undefeated killer that no one wants to fight. But I think at this point for Shavkat, it would just be kind of getting back in there and going from there. And, he also had some personal stuff going on too. So it's really hard to say when we're going to see him again. But hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But, all we can do is wait. I know we're not going to forget. The sport is a very, 15-minute memory and stuff. So, but they'll eventually remember when, he gets back in the cage there.
Yeah. Then the December card got announced. We all thought it was going to be Volk because that's what he was calling for. You pointed out to me, I guess they're going to go to Perth in February. I believe you said, and then
which will be a pay-per-view.
Which that makes sense for Volk. Lerone Murphy has tweeted out he's not fighting the rest of the year. So I think that kind of maybe gives you where they're leaning there. But they have now announced, Merab versus Peter Yan 2 will headline the last pay-per-view of the year. The co-headline of that card will be Alexander Pantoja versus Joshua Van. Van coming off the obviously fight of the year contender with Royval, and Pantoja, who has been on the flyweight. That's a fight that we've caught. Like, we knew that fight was being booked that night the last time Pantoja fought in June or July, and we're both excited. What do you make of Merab versus Yan 2? And Merab fight gets the what he wants to defend the title 4 times in a calendar year.
I mean, that's essentially why I have no problems with it whatsoever. I'm glad the UFC honored his request. I mean, Dana's been very vocal about how he never really was a Merab guy, and now he's finally seen the light. And I mean, with that type of activity,
how can you not like it?
Yeah, like what would you legitimately have to complain about at this point? And
so people on Merab, people find Merab style boring. I think like just the takedowns. I do not find it boring, and maybe it's because I like Merab's personality. Like, he's in there, he's having a great time, and he's just got all this damn energy all the time. But people do not. There are several people, and I'm sure that I talk to or see online that don't like the style. They don't really enjoy his like takedowns and then do nothing, takedowns and do nothing type.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it's just people are just so used to like wanting finishes and stuff. And, he is very good at weaponizing the pace and controlling it with through grappling. And he will, he's not really trying to hold you down. He wants you to get back up so he can take you back down. And, I like in the Sandhagen fight, I thought Sandhagen did a very good job in trying to avoid the takedowns and also getting back up. So, though after the first two rounds, we kind of had an idea of where it was going. I still thought Sandhagen had a decent chance in the fight the entire time because he was able to kind of get back up. So, and I don't know. It just reminds me of like the Diaz brothers, but with like grappling behind them, of just like excessive takedown instead of trying to like walk you down with like the slap style boxing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I in no way find it boring. I mean, especially just at this point, based off the activity and him fighting, you're kind of just wondering like, how long can this keep going? And I mean, that in itself to me is extremely interesting. I mean, um, granted, I'm not one of the people that's booing when there's a takedown, so maybe I'm the wrong audience to be asking, but I don't think his style is boring at all. And I mean, on the Jan aspect of it, if this was a month ago, I would have just said I have really very little interest in seeing this. I think it'll just go the same way. But at the same time, Jan mentioned that he was dealing with injuries in the fight, and though
stats back that up that he only threw his right hand, he said he had a broken right hand. Stats though show that he only threw that right hand 4 times. Real quick, Rob says all the people that say Rob's boring should go watch BKFC, KC, or DBX. They expose themselves as never grappling either. So,
yeah, well said. And so, yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna give, like, after watching the Pereira fight and him fighting healthy and stuff, why can I not give that same benefit to Jan? So, though I really don't see it being able to go much other of a way with how Marab kind of weaponizes the pace and just spamming the takedown, but Marab does. Jan has fought Marab before, so he kind of knows what he's in for.
This would be the 4th time he's faced that camp, right? Like two times with Aljo, 2 times now here with Jan. Like that those teams have now prepared for Peter Yan 4 times. Will be preparing for Peter Yan 4 times. He's really he's 1 and 2. I know to me he won the first match even though he didn't lose it.
Well, the crazy, I don't know if you can look this up, but I wonder if John Wood even with Marab at that point, like when he fought Jan the first time. He very well might have been, but if it was just with Longo and stuff, I'd be like, oh yeah, absolutely. At least he kind of knows the camp and stuff. But John Wood has really been able to, get the most out of his student that he can. And, to be able to keep these guys, motivated when they're, just constantly winning like this is just really impressive in itself. So, but the fact that he is closing the year off just kind of said, I mean, you said it when he defended against Sandhagen. Is he, the fighter of the year? And I had some pushback to it. I really don't think there's any way you could not give it in his direction, just if you're, basing it off activity and stuff like that.
4 title. If he beats Jan, 4 title fights, 4 wins.
Yeah, and It's I think it's so fitting that Pantoja and Joshua Van is going to be the co-main on that because like Van is also, I believe, looking for his fourth win this year.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the last pay per view is literally like the story behind it is just insane activity. And, there are a couple other flyweight matchups that throwing on that card, kind of building it up. I don't want them to get Charles Johnson on that card too. I think that would be very fitting. But, worst case scenario, he could just fight in January, like a month after, and get his name in his name in there because 125 is just so interesting watching the top 10. And
Yeah.
there are some guys that are criminally underrated in that division.
Exactly. It's a fun division to watch too. There's something I was going to say about, I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think, like I said, if Marab beats Jan, he's fighter of the year to me. I was going to say Marab has defended the title in more times in 1 year than some champs do in a span of 3 years. So, you know what I mean? Like there's that. So,
yeah, which is, I do not understand how he would not be at the top of the list of guys that the brass are just like, you fight all the time, you'll make anything work. I mean, his recovery and conditioning is, I don't know if we're ever going to get someone else like that. It's
yeah.
pretty bizarre to see. And
The fact that he goes 5 hard rounds before the fight, the day of the fight, is insane.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's just a testament to like his work ethic and stuff. That is that's just, it's such a wild pace when you're able to do that. Like, oh, I got a championship fight tonight. Let me spar 5 rounds right now. I mean, that's just
Against
wild.
two different people. Against two different people.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, he is a
machine,
animal, man.
He's
He's
just a
just gonna.
machine.
Yeah, no. Probably one of the best nicknames in the UFC too. Like there is no irony in that nickname at all.
Right. Like that's the perfect nickname. Let's get into this weekend's card. Is it in Montreal? It's in
I
Canada.
think it is. I know it's in Canada, but
Yeah,
whether
whatever.
it's, yeah, I don't. It could be in Quebec, but I'm pretty sure it's in Montreal. They did not cheap out on any of this stuff. Like, I don't know if they're making it up for the previous Canadian cards that were like, what? Come on, what was it? But I mean, the entire main card is kind of more or less built like a pay-per-view.
Cross says, "What have you done to Bobby Blunt?" Yeah, he's still here. Live and in the flesh. Yeah, this I wish I told you this. I still wish Fluffy was on this card. The main event took just a dip for me. I like Brendan Allen, but it just meant so much more with Fluffy. And really, the odds makers really don't have Brendan Allen all that much of a dog here, Bobby. They only have him at a dog at plus 175. So, right. Like that's, I figured he would be a bigger dog. RDR here is the favorite here at minus 210. This is his fourth fight on the calendar year. Shoot, it's his like 6th fight in like 24 months or something like that. Since he's
You don't by chance have the odds when he was matched up with Fluffy, do you? Was it like even? I guess it would be.
I can look it up real quick. I just wanted to point out this is how active RDR's been. This is actually since March 1st of 2024. He's one, two, three, four, five, 6 fights since March of 24. This is his seventh fight since then.
Yeah, and the UFC is finally starting to, book him with respect. I mean, I think when they booked him against Bo Nickel, they figured like, oh, Bo Nickel will get, deal with this one guy, and they keep forgetting that the man is a former champion in another organization, and he just keeps figuring out ways to get it done. I agree. It did take a little bit of a hit with Fluffy on off the card. I just think stylistically that was going to answer so many more questions about what we could get in an RDR like Chimaev fight or something like that. Because
Yeah.
Fluffy would look to kind of weaponize the wrestling pace. Very kind of similar to how Chimaev would. I mean, not the same with the shots and stuff, but I think we would get a little bit like clearer picture of like where he could be. But at the same time, Brendan Allen's no punk, and I do think RDR winning this, depending on how he wins, I mean, he could still be putting himself in line to get the next shot. I mean, I know I've been very emphatic on who the number one contender should be, like go with the guy with the winning streak and stuff. But at the same time, it does seem like the UFC is finally getting high on RDR. So if he's able to, put out a good performance with the main event, it's a good problem to have for the UFC brass. That's for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned the odds. So when it was Hernandez versus RDR, Hernandez was the favorite at minus 250. RDR was the underdog at plus 210.
Yeah. So, and I do think that's a little steep, but at the same time, when you saw Fluffy's last performance, it's really hard to go against it. What'd Rob just say there?
So Rob says two division world champs assigned to be two organizations. So talking about RDR. So yeah, I mean the UFC is not giving him a whole lot of love here. He's undefeated in the UFC. Like I said, he's been super active. I mean, this year alone, subbed Kevin Holland, TKO, Bo Nickel, split decision with Robert Whitaker in a fight. He almost got Rob out of there. And then he won. Then now he'll fight this one. So this is his fourth fight of the year. So
yeah, it's just so wild to actually think that the Kevin Holland performance was this year, because that just feels so long. Like, I don't know if it's just like talking about it weekly and going over everything, but I mean that fight seems like it happened ages ago, and
kudos to Brendan Allen taking this fight. I mean, he has kind of fought the top of the heap here at middleweight. He lost a unanimous decision to Imanov, lost a unanimous decision to Hernandez. He is coming off the win earlier in July over Vittori. Before that, he had beat Chris Curtis and Paul Craig. So he's won 3 out of his last 5. But it's like when he gets to that top tier, he has lost.
Yeah, but at the same time, I could understand completely why Allen.
You take this fight. Yeah, hey, we need a guy that initially a fight that was going to be maybe a possible number one contender fight. I can fight one of those guys. Yeah, I'll fight them. Yeah, I'd raise my hand. Of course I will.
Yeah, and I mean, not even looking at the rankings, but if Allen was able to get a win over RDR, I would easily rank Allen above Whitaker, Caio, Baharo. I mean, he would definitely. I'm not sure how I would pick if like those matchups actually happen.
Yeah.
I think the actual meaningless rankings, you would kind of have to put him right up there. And probably the only thing that hurts Allen is he does have the loss to Nasruddin, but at the same time, he did very well in the first round of that fight, and
Yeah,
then
almost had him out of there. Yeah.
just kind of stalled out. So most likely, Nasruddin would just be waiting for the Chimaev fight, but it's a really good position for Allen to kind of put his name in there and be like, hey, give me that Nasruddin rematch. I want to get that one back. So, though I do wish Fluffy stayed on the card, I still think this main event has very high stakes and implications coming up.
Yeah, and the thing about RDR is he's good everywhere. Like, you can't really go to the ground with him. He'll sub you. He'll also stand and bang with you as well. So yeah, he's going to be tough to beat. Who you like to win, Bobby?
I mean, I would think that I kind of wonder if Allen is gonna try to stand with him first. I don't know if it's going to be kind of a stalemate on the mat or not. So, when Brendan Allen looks best, it seems when he kind of believes in his striking and is pushing forward and moving through. So, I definitely think that's what he's going to have to do to win. But fuck, man, RDR is just on such a heater with so much momentum from that Whitaker fight. I got nothing for love for Brendan Allen, but I definitely, especially with RDR having this with a full camp, I would have to lean to Ritter here. But how it gets done is so much up in the air for me. Like, will this, go to the ground? Will it just be a high paced, kind of decision on both ends? Um, I do know I think Brendan Allen is going to make this a lot more competitive than people think. And maybe, the line is alluding to that. But I do think we're in store for one hell of a main event.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Give me RDR. I think he can. I like Brendan Allen, and I think Brendan Allen's still pretty young. He's not even 30 yet. So, um, you know, RDR is 35, so he's trying to get to the top quickly. Um, you, and I like both of these guys. I just think RDR. I probably picked him to lose every fight. I believe. I'm this year. So I think I might have picked him to beat Kevin Holland because it was at middleweight, not welterweight. But other than that, it's just hard for me to pick against RDR. I mean, you beat Rob Whitaker, you beat everybody else. This guy's on. He's
Yeah.
on one, man.
Well, ironically, like with the fluffy matchmaking, it was one of those fights where it's like, fuck, man, why, like, though I really want to see this, why are they doing this? Because I don't want to see either of these guys lose. And I kind of have the same feeling in this one. Like, even though I'm picking RDR, I really hope Allen does well with the
Yeah,
opportunity. And it's kind of one of these other scenarios where you don't really want either of these guys to lose, but that's not the game. One of them has to come out on top, and so I think this card as a whole, and I know we kind of go with this a lot on fight nights, but I do think this fight night is just built very well from top to bottom. On from the prelims or whatever. There's still some pretty decent names on the prelims as well. But I think that main card is going to be pretty solid there.
yes. Speaking of the main card, you mentioned Kevin Holland's on this card. How about Kevin Holland? I mean, he always wants to stay active. This is his sixth fight this year, and he is. I take that back. This is his fifth fight this year, and he's 2-2. The loss to RDR, 2 wins. Gunnar Nelson, Vincent Luque did lose the bad fight to D Rod. Now he is taking on the Canadian's own Mike Malott. Mike Malott is 12-2. He's won 4 out of his last 5. In fact, the only loss of that was Uncle Neil Magny. Malot's the favorite here at minus 120. Kevin Holland's breaking in even. That's a nice fight for you. Cheeto Vera. It's been a while since we saw Cheeto. In fact, we haven't seen Cheeto all year. The last time we saw him was almost over a year ago, which is very rare for the always active Cheeto. Last time we saw him was the loss to Figgy back in August of last year. He's taking on Amin Zahabi. That's an incredible fight, right? Zahabi's been on quite the run, Bobby. In fact, he hasn't lost since May 4th of 2019. So I know he was out for some time, but he's coming off that win against Jose Aldo back in May. I mean, that's another good fight. What's your thoughts here on just the main card here? I mean, you mentioned it. Also, real quick, I told you this should have been the co-main, Minier Fierro versus Jasmine Jasudavicius, who's also on the run, on a nice run. Minot coming off the title loss is the heavy favorite. Not really heavy favorite, but modest favorite at minus 235. Jasmine the dog at 1+190.
Damn, she's the dog again. They keep doing that in that kid.
Cheeto's the dog at +150.
You freeze up there.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, you froze for a second.
Okay, it just froze. You're back now. Who'd you say was the dog at +150?
Cheeto.
Yeah, and the Cheeto one, I kind of get it because Zahabi has been a little bit more active. That being said, I do like the time off for Cheeto for sure.
Yeah.
He's always kind of been, sometimes he's just a little bit too active. And then, especially with his style of kind of waiting for the first round and stuff and plotting. But I think that is a very good fight. And Jasudavicius not being the co-main, I think just kind of shows how loaded this actual card is. Because I think in a lot of other fight nights this year, it absolutely would be the co-main. I mean, when they initially announced it, we kind of just assumed it would be the co-main because, Jasmine's the hometown.
And Munoz just fighting off the title fight. So, like, Jasmine wins, it puts her, like, maybe next. You know what I mean? So, like, there's more at stake, I feel like, of that fight than – say Mike Malott and Kevin Holland.
Yeah, stake-wise for sure. I know Canada is definitely going to get everything they can out of Mike Malott, and if that is to serve on the co-main, I think that's what they're absolutely going to do. The first fight on the opener, though, like Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frivola. I mean, that is just going to be all fireworks, too, from the beginning.
That's kill or be killed. That's Frivola rolls like that. It's killed or be killed all the time.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely his style. And I think the UFC absolutely knows what they're doing, kind of opening that one up for the main. So I'm not sure if this is like the average start time or if it's starting a little earlier because it's in Canada. I mean, I know we got an hour early when it was in Brazil last week.
Yeah, I don't know if that's not telling me here on the time. I have to go to the website here.
And then prelim, the main card on the prelims, Charles Jourdain versus Davey Grant. I think that's another one that is not going to disappoint. So we got quite a bit of meat and potatoes on this card. I'm pretty pumped up for it.
Yeah, I will say Cheeto Vera is one of the coolest people on earth, and I would just love to just hang out with him. I just feel like he's got that. I've always been a fan of Cheeto, just like as a person. You know what I mean? And that's so it looks like we got a 6:00 Central time slot here. So it's 4:00 your time.
Okay. So, and I'm
But I
happy with
think that's
that.
prelims, or maybe that's
Well, there's some that go that late, and it's like, damn. I mean, I guess I'm not really feeling this with the West Coast times, but it's like you're really going to take up my entire night for this card. But I mean, this is one I would gladly sacrifice whatever I'm doing Saturday night
actually
for.
the
So,
main card does start at 6. So yeah,
mhm.
I will.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, Bobby. I will not be. Yeah. I mean, Rob's saying here the Grant versus Jourdain fight. Banger alert. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I will not be watching the card live. I will actually be at Saturday night. I will be at AEW Wrestle Dream. So the AEW's pay per view. So here in St. Louis, gonna go watch AEW. So pay per view this Saturday. I will tune into the card probably Sunday morning.
I'll have to make a note of that so I'm not spoiling the entire thing for you when it's going down.
It's all good. I watch anyway. I cannot not look at my phone, and I get all the every notification known to mankind. So I just still go back and watch. Especially if it's a knockout. Sometimes if it's like a decision, I might just read up on it. But for the most part, I still go back and watch the co-main for sure. I really the main card I probably watch, and I can skip all the bullshit. So it kind of helps sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely being able to rewatch it and just sift through all that shit makes it a
Yeah,
lot easier. I mean, of
yeah,
course, now ESPN does the thing where they put the ads in between the rounds no matter what. So
yeah.
they'll stall
But
it
I can
out
still fast
somehow.
forward that. You can fast forward that on the replay. So
Got all figured out there. No waiting for you. It'll be streamlined to your
I can
eyeballs.
watch. I can watch a 2 hour event in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes I feel like that's the only way to sanely do some of those apexes for
Amen
sure.
to that. Amen to that. Amen to that. Bob, you got anything else before we get up out of here?
I think that about covers it, except for fuck Andy Foster. You're a fucking scumbag. California sold out. If you don't know what I'm referring to, it's about the revival of the Ali Act. Check John
So.
Nash's Twitter. He is much more articulate with his thoughts for me. Or check out Fight Opinion. They've been doing some pretty good coverage on it. But it ceases to amaze me how this thing was just cooked from the beginning, and this always seemed to be the plan. So, fuck you, Andy Foster, the gold standard, my dickhead.
Money, 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 money. We all know that. We all know that.
Yeah, it always talks, and they don't want to. I should have seen the writing on the wall when that motherfucker approved to have slap fighting in California. So I mean, the check was sent in then and there. So yeah, nothing.
So real quick, Sean here, Pattsfield. If RDR wins this fight, I say give him the title shot. 5 fights, 5 wins within a year. Got to the top of the division. Give him the shot. I don't disagree, Sean. I think Imanov makes a case, but I don't disagree. If I'm RDR, I'm probably don't want to fight. But I mean, again, like if you're at the mind camp of Sean Brady, it's like I got to fight because that's how I get paid. I don't really know who would be next for him if it's not for the title. Like there's not another clear cut. I guess you rematch Fluffy and then you do that fight next year. The problem is, and I've kind of said this, and we said this when Hamzat won, is like how many times a year is Hamzat going to be able to defend the title? Like he only usually fights one to a time a year, maybe twice if you're lucky. So that'll be the issue going forward. I don't hate it. I'm not going to sit here and shit on the idea of RDR. If they gave RDR the title, they gave him a title shot. But I would,
and I'd have absolutely no pushback on it, Sean. And I am one of the people campaigning for Nasser Dean to get the shot next. But at a certain point, with the activity, he's done everything he's asked. If I was him, I would not fight unless it was for the belt next after this win. Though selfishly, I would want to see him fight Fluffy because I was just so curious to see how that would go. I think it's pretty much he would deserve a title shot after this, but unfortunately, as Botkins alluded to, that's going to be getting a little backlogged in line because who knows when they book Chimaev next. But absolutely no pushback to that.
Yeah, it's either him. If he wins this fight, it's either him or Imanov, and the UFC will just probably go to whoever's available. And it could be really Iman. I'm just hypothetically saying if Chimaev can't, something happens with his visa or he gets injured or something crazy, it could be Imanov versus RDR for the Inter. You know what I mean? It very well could be, Bobby. That's probably the more likely scenario than anything.
Yeah,
tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't want to jinx it. I'll just say no comment and knock on some wood.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I get it, but and this might be complete cope and hopium on my end, but I do think the reason Chimaev doesn't have a new fight booked yet is because they're holding him off for the beginning of the Paramount deal. Like he's gonna, be one of the names that they have there at the top, like probably him and Ilya.
Oh, they're gonna be on the White House,
I mean that would be something I could sign off on, like just for memes. Like that would be so entertaining. Because how many people would cry too when they're like, how dare you put this guy on the White House? Like this is supposed to be about America. Like, and so yeah, that would be pretty entertaining if they did that. But I hope he is fighting before June. Like, give me March for Chimaev at the very latest.
Whenever they go back to Abu Dhabi.
Get him back in the States. Like he is.
Chicago. He crushed it in Chicago. It was
watching fan reactions to him. That's why I'm just like, bring him back to the States. Like, let's see how far this thing can go.
Yeah, agreed. You got anything else before we get up out of here?
Nah, fuck Andy Foster.
Fuck Andy Foster. Other than that, that's it, folks. We'll be back this time next week, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern, for another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. We'll probably talk a little bit about this card, but mainly it is UFC 321. Sean's got one more thing here. Sean, we're trying to get it out of here, and you're over here piling in the questions. He says, in that case, I'm very curious to see how Imanov can handle gourmet chin's wrestling. I'm personally biased against RDR's skill set towards Chimaev. I think it's better stylistically matchup.
And I hear you with that, Sean, absolutely, because that was the main thing I was asking myself. Though Nasruddin walked through Kaio, I did not see anything that would make me not pick Chimaev in that fight. So through that angle, I completely get you.
You're good, Sean. We just appreciate you tuning in all seriousness. And we'll be back this time next week, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern, for another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. Again, we'll talk a little bit of the stuff that happened in this past weekend, but mainly we'll be focused on UFC 321. Headlined by the UFC heavyweight champion making his second title defense, Tom Aspinall versus Surreal Gone.
Ooh, look at the sneaky wording by you there.
Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you then.
Appreciate everyone in the chat.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.